preparing.
Hi, everyone. Happy Wednesday. It's so good to see everyone. And, if you look out your window, I hope that you're in an area like in Chicago area. It's beautiful outside. The sun is shining and, you take advantage of this weather. Go outside, plan a walk, go to the park if you have time. We have a great guest today, and we are so fortunate to get all these amazing people. And with that, Debbie, I would like you to introduce her to you. How are you doing today, Deb?
I'm doing great. Thank you, Laura. I just want to say it is beautiful in Chicago. And you know what today was for in our household? Mariana went back to school. It's so crazy. It was like, whoa, it's like the routine was again back in zone, You forget how the crazy mornings are until you do it again. But I just want to say that, I got the opportunity to meet Kathryn just recently in the last couple months and just spent maybe less than 2 hours with her, hour and a half. We were doing something else. And I actually just loved her focus. I loved everything that she was all about. And I know that I saw this vision of a need for other people that would like to know more about what she does. And I said, you know what? I got to talk to my girlfriend, Lori, and we got to get you on our social media profile and get you going on this. So anyways, Kathryn lives so close to an area that Lori and I are so familiar with, which is Lisle, Illinois, right? And she's got a ton of accreditations, and I'm not going to even try to explain them. I'm going to let her do that so that I don't make an error in explaining it. But the coolest thing she does, which we're all about, is helping others. And with that, I want to introduce to you Kathryn. And Kathryn, please take it away and tell us all about what you do and how you can impact other people's lives. We thank you for being here today with us.
Thank you for having me. I'll do my best. Yeah, so I guess what we were talking about is, my position as a mental health clinician, where I work for an online therapy platform and I meet with people. I have a number of clients and everything is just online. And I think what we were talking about before we went live, just how the need has grown because of the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think, what I often tell my clients is that, definitely the pandemic, or a lot of, and I'm finding this with younger clients, like maybe in their 20s and then late teens too, is that a lot of these younger individuals, whether they were in school during the pandemic, so they were kind of in their shells, so they're a little nervous to get out and talk about some of their issues with others. So that might be something that holds them back too. They're too shy. One of the things that I do like that where I work for now, they have I can have live video sessions with clients. I can also do chat only or audio only. And I know that in the schools, a lot of teachers were frustrated when they were doing remote. I don't want to talk to my kid's ceiling fan. I want to see my students' faces, but they felt uncomfortable. It is really uncomfortable for a lot of people seeking out treatment to just stare at themselves, so a lot of them have just done the chat only and they feel much more comfortable opening up that way. So yeah. I don't know if I've lost focus.
It's okay.
You do, trust me. You're doing something that is very intense and deep, and the thought that you are helping people. There's so many people that have issues. I'm sure that you had a lot of these kids that went to school, and I know you're not doing children anymore, but I know a lot of the kids have suffered a lot with school, but the parents did too. We are in a crisis right now with everything going on still. Not having enough money for food, and gas is expensive, and just worrying about what our future has. And I think the opportunity for somebody to actually do a video call with you and actually don't have to leave their house, I'm sure that they're probably a lot more comfortable than going into an office. I know I would be.
Yeah.
And No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
They also have, like, that's the benefit of the online, is that it's asynchronous messaging too. So I have people who just are super busy and maybe they can't schedule a live session or their schedules change.
Right.
And so they
Right,
can just,
right.
oh, I got 5 minutes. Let me leave my therapist a message. And then I get
Yeah.
back to them. So they kind of like it that way. Yeah, I feel like, and I know this is not, this is possibly a generalization, but everything that I hear, from a lot of my clients is that everyone's walking around just like feeling really inadequate with themselves, really down on themselves. A lot of people are just suffering from, depression, anxiety, low self-esteem, and dismissing their feelings, which only just aggravates it, just makes it worse. So it's really helpful when you
Right.
can talk to someone who can validate your feelings, like, this is okay, like you're not the only one feeling this way. Yeah.
Well, and I also think that, like, okay, there's a lot of people that we have no control over certain things. There's certain things we can control with our own person, but there's certain things that in our environment, our government, our everything that cannot be controlled. And because of all that, I think people, it gives them more anxiety and stress because there's so much unknown in their life or their career or their economy or their everything, things that you've just mentioned. And if you keep that all bottled up and you don't get it out and you don't get the opportunity, we lost Laura for a second, but I'm sure she'll be back in a minute. It happens. Sometimes we freeze, but if you don't have a means to do that with someone you're comfortable, and it can't necessarily be your best friend or your spouse or your significant other. It needs to be somebody that can help you sort through it. I love the fact that you're here talking with us and telling us about how you do this, because I think that if I was a first time person going, I would feel much better, like get that connection, see how you gel, because that's a big thing, gelling with the person you're talking to, but then being able to communicate and then knowing that, oh my gosh, I could send a message, maybe say, hey, that's how I'm feeling, this is what I'm going through, next session I want to talk, or next time we can, or here's a situation, can you help me through it, let's talk one.
Because I do know, and some people really love to work all the time, but I think that especially as a therapist, it can be very draining. You have to be mindful of hearing other people's struggles, which are sometimes it's really hard to hear, like knowing what people are dealing with and the suffering that they're going through. So to do that like 8 hours a day and to be able to really show up for, that would be hard. So I do feel like I try to, give myself the time that I need so that I can decompress and be present for the next person.
And your family, I mean, too, but right. Now, do you ever do face-to-face, listen to this, live, in person? Do you do in person as well, or do you strictly do only online?
So I did, so now I just do online. I did do private practice in person, like until I had my last kid. And then I like stopped that. And then I thought like I was done with that until the online therapy. I was like, oh, that's nice. I don't have to go to work. Like I can still do that. So that's when I started going back to that.
Well, I know if how much Lori was explaining to you prior to me getting on and stuff, and for our people that are listening and hearing, is that, Lori and I, when the pandemic happened, I'm a hairdresser, she had other things she was doing. We were like, we couldn't do any of that, And so we had thought, we put our noggins together and we said, what could we do for the benefit of others? And, use Zoom or use online platforms. And that's when we started this for the health and wellness of you, because it was something that we were like passionate about, wanted to be able to have that opportunity to get people like you out there, for other people to know, and where's a place that we can all come and have positive stuff going on. I would assume that this is kind of like, thank God, like people now are so much more comfortable, because prior to that, even my young daughter, who's a teacher, she never used Zoom, well, now she had to use Zoom all through the pandemic, and then now she knows Zoom, and everybody knows Zoom, but Zoom was a great thing. And, and then there's Meetup, and or not Meetups, but what is it, the one from Windows, there's one, I mean, there's all kinds of the platforms that people can use, and if you have to, FaceTime or Messenger. So people now, it's so much more normal. It reminds me of the era back when, and you wouldn't remember this because you're too young, but when we first had our first dial-up internet. So I'll tell my kids, oh my gosh, dial-up internet. We just got dial-up internet. We have the World Wide Web we can go on, and we can go on the internet. Well, they'll ask me today, they'll be like, you didn't have the internet when you were in school, when you were a kid? I'm like, no, we didn't even have cell phones.
Right,
we didn't even have a cell phone. So now our kids are growing up, my grandchild and your kids and everyone else are growing up in this world that we have this, which is a good platform. It can be a bad platform though, because if people use it improperly, but for a good platform. And it's just such a blessing, because then another thing too is you may have people that need to talk, but maybe they are homebound and they cannot even get out of their home. Maybe they don't drive anymore. Maybe they don't have a car. Maybe they, whatever their situation is. I got into the conversation a little before when we were talking prior to this. You were explaining a little bit of the rules are different in the different states. I just want to open up a conversation for a second here of like our platform here. We have people all over. We have people in all different states and countries. Do you have advantages? Are you able to? Laura's back, yay!
Yeah, sorry about that.
That's okay. That's okay. So do you have opportunities for some arenas and areas to do online with people that are out of state? I know you said there's a few rules and regulations. So how is it going for you at the present?
Yeah, so I, being in Illinois, I am only licensed in Illinois, but I can, like, there is some kind of initiative. I don't know honestly of any other states other than Arizona, which still, like, there are therapists licensed in every state. So, you know, someone in Arizona can, and I think the idea is that the demand is so high that Arizona's figuring out, what do we do? Like, we have way too many, you know, people who need mental health help and not enough providers. So that's why they've opened it up to other states, such as Illinois. And I don't know why the rule is like this, but I have always been able to see international clients. So like I've had someone in China, you know, someone in Sweden, someone in France, you know what I mean? So those rules.
About you too, like we want to know that like they can request you or have your information. That's what is cool. So yeah, like if I say, okay, hey, I want to make an appointment, I can make it directly with you. That's how it can work, right?
Yeah, people can do, so they can, when they sign up, like they can go to be like, they can seek me out and directly be matched with me, or they can have like the person who's working with them find a good match. And that's what I'd like to tell my clients too, like, especially, you know, with my new clients, I might say, I might not be a good fit for you. Like, I want to tell you that, you know, I'm going to help you, and just me alone. It's like dating, you know, like, you might know that, you know what, this person seems nice, but I don't think that they're the best fit for me. And then you just keep going. But what I do tell clients is that, you know, give someone you're meeting with a couple of chances, and be open to the process, even if you're not a good fit with one provider. I did have one client recently who's just like so frustrated because he had two previous therapists, like they didn't show up for his appointment. So he's like, you're it. And I said, that's great, but even if I'm not it, like that doesn't mean that you're stuck and that you can't, you know, work through some of your issues. It's just, you know.
I want to tell you that's huge. That is huge, because your personality is so loving and giving, and you're like, you could be, you're being unselfish. You're being very, you know what I mean? Like you're saying that you care more about the other person, and you know what? That'll bring you more twofold. I mean, it sounds like you got into this arena for a reason. Not because, you know, because you wanted to help others, you know, and so it's truly being that way, you know, and I think that's fantastic. You know, I love that. I love that.
Thank you.
Yeah. So cool.
I just want to know, I don't know if you guys talked about it while I was gone. How long are your sessions usually?
Usually, so usually the people who go through their EAP programs are 30-minute sessions, and people who go through their insurance, it's usually 45 minutes or 60 minutes.
Okay. All right. And so you're going to put out there where we could get a hold of your company that you work for, so people could find therapists through that.
Sure.
I really would like that. That would be great because I know a lot of people that could use your services. Again, we're really at a point in our lives where a lot of people are really fragile. And, we take care of elderly people maybe, or we have young children and, we don't know what to do. It's a very hard time. And I've spent many years in counseling and it's always benefited me to the point. But, during the pandemic, people didn't know where to go. And I'm so glad that the company you're working for is doing this. Again, like I was saying earlier, was, you have to drive to an office, you have to wait in the waiting room. You don't write prescriptions because you're a counselor.
Right.
You guys work with psychiatrists?
Yeah, they have them there too. So they can
Okay,
connect with
so,
that too.
and I know a lot of psychiatrists won't forward the medicine to your pharmacy. So like, how would people get their prescriptions? Because I know a lot of like the Adderall and all that stuff, you have to pick up the prescription. Do you know how that procedure
I
is?
assume it's the same because
Yeah.
just because it does go through their insurance. It's just
Right.
that they
Right.
get connected with a psychiatrist on the therapy platform, and then
Yeah.
it's
Oh, I'm excited to look more into that. And I suggest anybody in our audience that's listening today, you look into it, even if you don't need it for yourself, that you might know somebody that needs help. You could go ahead and direct them to it. I think that is so wonderful what you're doing and to help people. That is just amazing. And I know you were working with children for many years, right? In school, you were a social worker in the schools,
school counselor.
school counseling and stuff.
Yeah.
You don't deal with children anymore, correct? With your service, like young
Yeah,
children?
just adolescents I do, but just but no one really young. I think my youngest, like I said, my youngest child is 13.
Okay.
Yeah,
Sounds,
yeah.
well, I
But
don't
it
have
does.
questions.